Shalom. While you're preparing for Shabbat, I'd like to share with you a little Torah thought. You're probably thinking about Passover too, which is just a few short weeks away. In 3 weeks from tonight, we will be celebrating Passover. And indeed, the readings of this Shabbat from the Torah scrolls that we take out are designed to remind us of the upcoming holiday of Passover as well. In the first Torah scroll, we follow the regular cycle, reading the portion of Shemini. But in the second Torah scroll, we read a special reading about the red heifer. Why are we reading about the red heifer right now? Well, this is because Passover is right around the corner. And in temple times, in order to celebrate Passover, one would be required to participate in the Passover lamb. Now, the Passover lamb, even though it was enjoyed by family and friends in their own private home, it was actually technically considered a temple offering. And temple offerings have very specific requirements in order to participate in them. One of them is to be in a state of ritual holiness, ritual cleansing. How does one achieve this ritual cleansing? Well, if someone was not in a state of ritual holiness, ritual cleansing, they would have to go through the process of the sprinkling of the ashes of the red heifer, which is what the second Torah scrolls reading is all about. And this is a little bit of a strange procedure, but hopefully through today's discussion we can understand it and appreciate what it's really all about. The red heifer was a cow that was perfectly red. Not even 2 white hairs were allowed, and it would be slaughtered and offered in the holy temple, burnt into ashes. These ashes were mixed with spring water and were then sprinkled at anyone that was ritually unclean, and through this process they could become ritually cleansed. That sounds strange. What is ashes of a red heifer doing in the process of becoming ritually pure? How does this work? Well, one of the interesting paradoxes about the red heifer is that the Kohen, the priest, that would administer the sprinkling of these ashes would actually become impure in that process of administering the sprinkling. Whereas the recipient that would receive that little drop, the little sprinkling, would now become cleansed. So you actually have the reverse impact of what is trying to be achieved. The one that was impure now becomes pure. The one that was previously pure now becomes impure. What a paradox, what a bizarre outcome for this procedure. In the mystical teachings, it tells us that this is actually the secret of life itself. Yes, in life, it is these kinds of moments that really encapsulate the gift of life, the gift of what it means to be a godly human being. You see, there's different kinds of kindness. There's kindness which comes out of a state of natural desire to solve a problem, to act in a kind way towards another. You may be walking down the street on your way to lunch and you see somebody who's less fortunate, doesn't have what to eat. You think to yourself, why don't I give them an opportunity to eat as well? And you give them a way to get their own food. But that, even though it's an act of kindness, is also a behavioral kind of kindness. It expresses who we are and what we want, and reinforces that natural state of who we are. A greater act of kindness would be in a state where there is only one lunch to be had, and you thought it was going to be for you, and you see somebody else less fortunate and you give them your very own lunch, and in that process are willing to skip your lunch that day. That is a kind of kindness which is altruistic. That is a kindness that is truly selfless, that is truly beyond the call of duty. If you think about any meaningful relationships in your life, whether it's the love you receive from your parents or the love between you and another human being, you will probably find that it's those selfless acts of love that were given or received that truly validated the relationship and help one recognize the unconditional nature of that relationship. In life, when we give in a conditional way, it's nice and it's important. But it's when we give in an unconditional, selfless way that true divine connection is born out, true bonding and connection is discovered. And this is what the Torah is teaching us by the process of the red heifer. The actual process itself is probably less significant than the willingness of the Kohen to help another person at their own expense. And this is why we read this reading in preparation for Passover. Not just so that we can be prepared for the Passover lamb, but so that we can be prepared for the holiday of freedom, the holiday of liberation. If we are going to experience freedom and liberation on Passover, it is going to be by the prior preparation of true, selfless, unconditional love, unconditional connection, unconditional support to our fellow human beings. This is the meaning of the reading of the red heifer, to remind all of us what true freedom is all about and what being an agent of true divine giving, divine kindness is all about. Let's internalize this message. Let's prepare ourselves in this profound, meaningful way and celebrate a holiday of true freedom, of true connection, true blessing. Shabbat Shalom.